hear my verse, cause yeah, they said it, but I said it first. So in a sense, I gave these niggas birth. That's why my fans in my show screaming, take me to church. No suit and tie, but baby, I go to work.
Hey y'all, welcome to H2 Slow. You guys know Rick. I've got Louie back here, and me, of course. And this week we do have a new contest. This Beast H2 Slow fitness shirt. We're going to be giving that away by now for the 4 people that watch this show. You should know the rules. Comment, like, subscribe. You're automatically entered. If you have a friend that you can get to comment, like, and subscribe, they're entered. Plus, you're entered again for having them subscribe. So, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Rick was on the show, and I was going to let Rick tell you guys a little bit about something he touched on that evening. We had probably 8 or 9 questions that night.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of questions.
Yeah, they were good questions too.
Tonight we don't have as many questions, and Rick had mentioned something that kind of was dear to me too, and I didn't get to bring it up at the time because we had so much to go through. But for people that don't know me personally, a lot of people he's a good old redneck boy, but my wife will tell you I'm kind of a nerd. My favorite writer is Joseph Campbell. I like Carl Jung. I like Alan Watts, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Those are guys that just I could sit and read stuff all day long by those people. But I'm gonna let Rick touch base on something that's dear to him, and let him tell you guys a little bit about the law of attraction.
Thanks, brother. I was just letting you know that this is a great platform to get certain ideas out, not only to ask questions, but to help everybody out there, give you tools to reach your goals. And I've been doing this a long time, and I'll be 52 in May, 51 now, and just learning and watching and being around, being blessed enough to be around some amazing people, some extremely super successful people. There's a common denominator to all of them, and I think I'm just now kind of learning how to, I think we all get pieces in life, here and there, and I think I'm just putting pieces together, and I'm making sense of a certain formula that works. And like we said before, this formula is timeless, and it always works, and because it's a law, and it's called law of attraction. And like we said before, and anybody that knows me, God made the universe, and He made certain laws. He made laws of physics, and He made all kinds of laws. He made stars. He made us. I mean, look at us. We're amazing, creatures that He made, and in His image, and I believe we can do so much more than what we can do now. And we're learning and we're evolving as a human species. And one of the things that we're learning how to do is to learn how to manifest things in our lives to have the kind of lives that we want, not only physically, but for our families, and to leave a legacy for our families and our grandkids. But it's up to you to do that. And so I believe that if you can think it, then you can have it. We don't have a creator that holds a carrot in front of us, and it's like you have you have your imagination, and you can think all these things, and I'm going to hold a carrot in front of you, and these are the goals, and you want to have kids, and you want to be successful, and you want to have a nice home, and you want to be able to help people. And I don't think we would be allowed to have those thoughts unless we could obtain them. We don't have a God that is like, oh, here's the carrot, and you can think these things with your imagination, and then I'm not going to let you have it. So I think if we can think it, we can have it. There was a guy sitting around going, you know what, I don't want to use a rotary phone anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that would be pretty cool if, we could walk around without a rotary phone, and now we got cell phones. There was a guy probably sitting around at some point going, you know, the horses are crapping everywhere, and it'd be nice to be able to be in something that could drive around. Now we got engines and planes that fly, and all of those things came from our imagination. And you know, I think our imagination is a preview of things to come, right? And you know, it says, you know, faith is believing in something that hasn't happened yet, and those things to come are your imagination. You know, that's what I believe it is. So, and there's certain things that you can do to have those things in life if you follow certain principles that they're going to happen. And one of those things is law of attraction, like we were talking about before. There's certain laws. There's law of gravity. I mean, these things are factual and real. They're not hokey pokey, new age, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Albert Einstein was a huge believer. Like, he was one of the guys that brought, you know, out in the mainstream, the law of attraction is actually a law.
And people don't realize that. I mean, the super successful, these people that were pioneers, all believed in law of attraction. Tesla, all of them. Anybody that's super successful in this world, and I don't care if it's bodybuilding, the corporate arena, anything, the common denominator is they believe in law of attraction. They know that everything in their life started from their thoughts.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and faith is believing in something that that you know is going to happen, but hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
I believe that law of attraction, the Bible's law. It's law of attraction. It just explains law of attraction. You know, a man is what he thinketh. I mean, it's everywhere. You know. So, but I think the way things are in the world, and sometimes, you know, religion's got a bad ding to it and stuff. And it's law of attraction now, but it's the same. Yeah. It's the same gig, right?
Yeah, it's like he's saying, like, if you're in a situation in your life and you're always negative, then life is always going to be negative. Like, nothing positive is going to come out of negative thoughts. It's impossible. And you know, also in the Bible, you know, you have not because you ask not. You know,
right?
And it's the same thing.
And people are so law of attraction. What you think, your thoughts are, your life is a movie and you're the producer. So your thoughts, you're creating your reality. Okay? God is not, he gave us free will.
Yeah.
So he's not going to tell us to have good thoughts or bad thoughts, whatever. He sure would like us to figure it out to have good thoughts because he wants to have a life. Because God knows that if you're having good thoughts, then your life is going to be a certain way. So of course, it made us. It wants us to have a good life. And so, it's the Bible's. It's riddled. You know, when Jesus was walking, and the lady that was blind, you know, she thought in her head, 100%, right, that the next thing she touched was going to be Jesus' robe. All right, and so here she is blind. She went by and touched his robe, and then she can see, right? And Jesus, he was so in tune with it. He didn't turn around and go like this and go. He didn't turn around and say, "That's right, honey. You can see because of me." No, he turned around and said, "He can see because you believed." 100%. So I got to think when Jesus is rolling in with his posse, in her head, she believed 100%, no doubt, that whatever the next thing she touched was going to be his robe and she could see. I bet if you knew what she was thinking, and Jesus walked by and he just went like this and went like that, she touched you, she'd have been like, she did it because she believed 100%.
Yeah.
Just like in life, you make goals, and you make goals, and you've got to think positive. I mean, you gotta positive in, positive out. You think positive, you're gonna get positive every day. Every day, it's like we talked about before. You know, it's a big pond, and it's up to us what pebbles we throw out in that pond. Okay, because whatever, and those pebbles are our thoughts. So whatever thoughts were, you know, and it starts from right when you get up. You know, those thoughts that we throw out in the pond, they ripple out, and then they reverberate and come back. And so when you're putting throwing positive, pebbles out all day long, and it's going to come back to you, and positive. I believe that you said we don't have because because we don't ask.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, people ask, they're not asking big enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Up your ask, okay? And God's got to up his give.
Yeah.
So we ask little things.
Yeah, it's like, God, please don't let my car break down until I get to work, How about, God, please allow me to make enough money to get me a new car, I mean, just, and believe it.
Yes.
Believe that you can do it. I mean, and that sounds kind of crazy, but
it's not.
It's true. And one of the reasons I wanted Rick to touch on this, is because a lot of people, they'll scroll by, on a Facebook or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, that's that fitness crap, I can't get into that. I could never be that guy, or I could never do that. Yeah, you can. And that's a little bit why I wanted to talk about this. I mean, like, anybody can.
Yes.
And it's just a matter of what you already told yourself you can. That's why you can't. When you're looking through there.
There's the difference between you, okay, people that are watching, and the guy in the Lamborghini, or between you and the guy that just has the nice house that you might like, or the girl or guy out there you're thinking, oh, I can't be like him, my physique can't look like that, or it just doesn't have to be physical. Whatever you look up to, what's the difference between you and that person? There's no difference except for the way you think. They think different because they're applying principles of law of attraction, positive in, positive out. They don't let things get to them. Okay, they just let it, they don't let things get to them. They just let things, because they know how destructive negative thoughts are. New levels, new devils. It's like, you might lose your friends. You might, this might happen, you might, like I said, circle of friends or whatever, but, you just can't have negative forces around you.
You can't think negative. Like when you make excuses of why somebody else has it and you don't, you're just not researching it. I mean, like a lot of people, they're like always like, well, that guy's got it made because his dad was rich, or he comes from a rich family. If money is what your perspective is on people. But like, what's crazy is most of the people that inherit all their fortune lose it.
Yeah.
The majority of the percentage, the small percentage that has the majority of the money in the world, if you took it all away from them today, they would have it back in like a year or two or something like that. I mean, it's because that's what their passion is, and that's kind of what the law of attraction is. Just following your passion.
And believing and knowing that you can do it. And let me tell you something, and this comes from doing it. One of the biggest ways to get to your goal, because doors will open, things will just seem to come in your doors that were closed before will seem to open. People will come into your path that just seem to kind of fit and are coming up beside you with the same vision you have, or maybe something you want to do. There are no coincidences. There's no coincidences, and there's no luck. Everything happens for a reason. But the biggest thing, I believe it goes in stages, and I'm not there yet, and my goal is to be there. But the biggest thing that I would love to do, and I know it's kind of at the end of your process. I think it's a process to get to that point. It's not about the money or the cars. Those are nice, and those are great to have, and but it's to help other people.
Oh yeah.
Right? If you are helping other people, like when I'm at the dealership, I like to inspire people, and I like to be positive, and I like to help when I can, and I can see that my day, I get certain breaks, or I walk outside and I don't have to stand by the door the whole day, because it just seems like I walk outside and it's like, oh, I'm saying bye to someone, and I walk out door and there's a car and going, hey, can you show me a vehicle? It just happens like that. And all I'm doing is just being there for people and making people smile and being a positive influence to them and stuff. And it just because God knows what I need. He already knows. So my job is to be a vessel of good and love and laughing and stuff like that. And he just kind of takes care of all the other stuff, right?
Totally, yeah. I mentioned Ralph Waldo Emerson earlier. That was his definition of success. To know that because that you do what you do and you're alive, that has helped and changed someone else's life, that's success.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe also.
Really?
And I think that's just that's just how it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And but I guess we probably went on a little long. I think we might just make this a show. This will be the Law of Attraction show, and then we'll just cut it off. Start another one.
Not Paul Harvey, but Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Have you heard his story?
Yeah, he was he lived in his car
For 3 years.
Yeah. He won $50 at a comedy show, and he told his wife, this is what I do. And of course, his wife, like all wives, are like, "What are you talking about? You got $50, But he's like, this is what I do. This is what I just know it. And he's got. If you guys haven't heard it, it's
amazing. Steve Harvey, go and check it out. He fished for his food. He kept he lived out of his car for 3 years. Okay, what you're seeing the finished product.
Yeah.
But if you reverse engineer Steve Harvey's life, and not just his life, Oprah's, Jim Carrey's, anybody that's successful, okay, that's super successful, and you can tell when someone's not vain or whatever. You can tell when they're like good, good people, whatever. I guarantee you, the guy on that did the Fast and Furious, the black guy, Tyrese or whatever.
Oh yeah, Tyrese.
He's getting to be big time now as far as motivating, but he's gone through all kinds of crazy stuff. But back to Steve Harvey, you're seeing the finished product, and now he's out on the circuit. He's teaching about law of attraction. That's all he does now. When he was fishing for food, sometimes he'd be fishing and people would come up and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm fishing," and you're like, put the fish back, right? Get off his property. So here's the thing too. Whenever you're going through a bunch of crap, okay, Steve Harvey, you know what he did? He's even in the midst of all that, right? He thought in his head, one day I'm gonna get a piece of property, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna have a pond, then when I can fish on it, no one can kick me off. Even when he was down, living in a car, fishing for his food, people were kicking him off the property. In his head, that's how crazy it would seem, okay? But his head, all right, he was thinking one day, he didn't have any money, okay? But his thoughts, here we are again with your thoughts and how powerful they are. He was thinking the whole time, one day I'm gonna have property that has a pond on it so I can fish. Okay, that's what he was thinking. He wasn't even. He was like, okay, they tell me to get off the property. He just go fish somewhere else. But his dominant thought was, one day I'm driven, and one day I'm gonna have property with a pond on it so I can fish. And sure enough, he did.
Yeah, like all the money he made on the road, he was sending it home, and he was living in his car. To pay for his passion and calling what he felt like he should do.
Yeah.
And when he finally saved up enough money, and like Rick said, his biggest goal was, I'm going to own a piece of property with my own pond that nobody's going to throw me off of one day.
Yeah.
And he went, I think it was Texas.
Yeah.
And he bought
he figured it out. And here you are, you're like, oh man, they're talking about that hocus pocus stuff. Okay, no, it's real, okay? Law of attraction is real. All right, just like the law of gravity, just like the law of lift, it's all real. Law of gravity, if you jump out of a 2-story building, you're gonna fall down because there's gravity. It's a law of gravity. If an airplane's wing isn't shaped just how it's supposed to create the law of lift for the planes to get off, the ground once they get going, a plane wouldn't fly. It's not a square wing.
Yeah.
Just like the law of attraction, it's a real thing. Law of attraction. What your dominant thought is will be your reality. Back to Steve Harvey. He he not only went out to Texas and got his property, okay, and he got 6 acres because he figured out there's so many billions of people in the world, and then how he wanted to know how much land
Each person in the world could own.
each person.
Yeah.
He found out how much land, square footage is on the earth estimated, and then he took the people that are on the earth and
He felt he deserved that amount.
he figured out that everybody deserves 6 acres of land. So in his head, he wanted 6 acres of land. And sometimes you got to go to your one goal, but then God knows what you want, and it's even more. But you can't get that unless you believe in he believed in his 6 acres, because he went out there to get the 6 acres. He had $250,000.
Yep.
And the guy, he went out there to get the land, and the guy was like, I don't know if I can do that. He goes, how much you got? He's like, I got $250,000. And he's like, I don't know if I can do it for $250. Let me see what I can work on. And then he goes, but you know what? He said, if you look over there, there's a friend of mine that might be getting rid of some of his property. And so Steve Harvey went over there and looked. It had a pond, all kinds of stuff. And the guy was a white redneck, and Steve Harvey said he didn't get along with a white redneck, but now he's a father figure to him. And he ended up selling Steve Harvey how many acres of land?
I think it was like a couple hundred.
It was like 250,
Yeah.
like 200 acres of land.
Yeah,
And guess what?
crazy.
The guy goes, how much money you got? Steve Harvey said, I got $250,000. He goes, all right, give me $250,000 and it's yours. Ponds, all kinds of stuff. Do you know what he does with the land now?
It's like a women's.
It's a thing for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And he pipes in African Americans to this land, kids, and they go there for like a week or a month or whatever, and then they learn good habits and all that kind of stuff. So, but he would have never got there
Yeah.
unless he would have focused and wanted his 6 acres.
And what's crazy is like that's all he ever wanted, and he thought, that's where I'm going to live, but he never even lived there. It's now the place you said that helps children.
I just got goosebumps.
And that's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
There was one more thing I wanted. His story is just absolutely. He talks about a seed, okay, and he's like, he can never figure out how God would put a hole in the ground and put us, symbolically a seed in the ground, and then cover it up with dirt, right? And he's like, but if you look at if you look at what the seed's doing, the seed in there is sprouting out, and it's having to push through the dirt, and it's like the dirt would represent all the things you got to put and all the struggle, okay? Because the seed's got to prove itself. It's got to go through all these things before it finally breaks out, and it's a tree or a flower or whatever beautiful thing that it is. But as it's struggling through, Steve Harvey said he's kind of looked at it different. He didn't look at it as dirt anymore, right? People talking, naysaying, negative, all that crap or whatever. He just kept growing and growing and growing until and going through the dirt. And as the dirt's packed on him, he just kept growing. You can't do this, Steve. You're crazy. There's no way. You're never gonna have the land. Blah 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 blah. You're in a car. You're homeless in a car for 3 years, and you want to go buy land. It's like, are you serious? And he's like, I just stayed focused and sprouting and growing through the dirt. But he started looking at it like. He didn't look at it as dirt anymore. He looked at it as soil.
Yeah.
Right? And soil in
Nurture.
God's God, because it's soil, and God, he looked at it as God was putting soil on it, and the soil has nutrients in it. And the nutrients were God's nutrients, to where he looked at it like he was supposed to be learning stuff. And so he embraced it. So he was like, all right, come on, give me more soil, because he wanted to learn. He wanted God to keep grooming him. He knew in his heart that, and he started seeing doors open and people coming in his life, and he stayed focused, and he didn't listen to the naysayers and this and that and that. And next thing you know, he sprouts out. He's got TV shows. He's Steve Harvey. He's got 7 TV shows now. 250 acres that he got for $250,000. And it's on, and now he's telling his story how he did that. And that's just Steve Harvey. There's probably, I don't think there's hundreds, but there's a lot of people that are out there right now teaching people about law of attraction and how to do it, that have those same stories. I mean, trials upon trials of stories.
Mike Tyson, he was bullied in school, and he loved pigeons.
No way.
And he used to raise pigeons. That was what he loved to do, and he was real quiet, and he got picked on all the time. Well, these kids that were older than him, one day, like one of them took one of his pigeons, and he was trying to get his pigeon back, and the kid like broke its neck and dropped it, and that just sent him in this rage, and like he fought that kid, and he won that fight. And after that, everything just started rolling that direction, But I mean, he was a scared little kid that was picked on all the time, and then he became one of the greatest boxers that's ever stepped in the ring. It's kind of crazy.
That's cool.
Think of him being bullied around.
But it's neat how it all starts, and that's a purposeful destiny. I mean, those are things that are happening. Stuff can come in your life and change your life forever. The Rock, right? The Rock. He was in high school. He was taller than everybody. He was a bully. He goes in and he's druggy. He goes in and he would go into the teachers' bathrooms instead of the students, and no one would really say anything to him because he's a big dude. Did you hear about that? So
his dad was like a big wrestler, Rocky something or other.
And so he went in there, and the teacher's like, hey, what's his name? What's Johnson? What's the Rock's name? Dwayne. Dwayne's in the teacher facility again, going to the bathroom. So this guy, I'm not going to tell you who, goes in and confronts him and is like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, what do you mean I'm doing? I'm going to the bathroom. And he goes, oh, really? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, you've been coming in here a lot. You're basically getting in trouble, suspended, or whatever. And he's like, and Dwayne and The Rock is like, oh, okay. Well, kind of was giving him a hard time. And he goes, listen, the guy, I'm not going to tell you who yet, was like, I won't let you get in trouble. And then he introduced himself. It was the football coach. He goes, I'll let you off the hook and you won't get in trouble if you promise to come out and try out for the football team. And sure enough, he went out, tried out for the football team, and the rest is, just crazy stuff like that, bro.
Reason. One thing, like my mom, before she passed away, there's one thing that stuck with me, for years in my life, and like I can still hear her saying in my head today when stuff goes wrong, I just feel like blowing up. Like she always told me, you can't control circumstances. Sometimes things are going to happen, but you can always control how you act during those circumstances.
Correct.
And that's just, it's your choice what you want to do. And like Steve Harvey, seeing the struggles as nutrients, feeding him and making him better. And
God's he's grooming you. Embrace it. Like, he's not going to, where would life be with no struggles and no hardships? It would be a long, boring road to nowhere, pointless and useless. So everything's happening to you for a reason to get to where you're wanting to go. It's all preparation to where you want to go. Steve Harvey, all the stuff he went through was all preparation for one day for him to be a motivational speaker and have all this land and tutor kids and ship them into his property. And it's just amazing how it works, man.
It is. What we're going to do is we're just going to make this a show. This is the Law of Attraction show, and but I'm going to let Rick tell you guys real fast how many days out he is. He's getting ready to be in his next show, and we'll keep you guys updated on how he feels. As far as readiness and physical. And I'll just let him tell you about that.
So. I was going to go in the Northern Kentucky. I went in last year. I came in third last year in my division, and so I was going to go in there and started working in La Follette at Short Redmond Ford. So I'm going to go in the Derby, which is April 27th. So there's 54 days, whatever. I got a lot of friends that are going in. And the Northern Kentucky, they're doing great. Nate Smith, Brandon Hedrick, Brandon's girlfriend, Nate Smith's girlfriend Brittany, a lot of people from Corbin, so I'll be there, rooting them on. Alicia Fields is going in. A lot of people from Corbin, cool. Which is pretty cool.
I seen Nate in the paper. I think it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
where he won like a show, but he's got like a pacemaker.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, he's got a pacemaker.
I thought that was cool.
You know, another thing too, you know, there's a lot of people in this in the bodybuilding scene or the fitness scene. Like, you know, Nate had the pacemaker, and here we go again. He could have quit,
Yeah.
but he didn't, and he kept going and kept going. Another thing about me is 3 years ago, and you know, and we all have our stories, and it's all relative. But I'm just going to go ahead and share something with you. 3 years ago, it was raining outside. I was in Florida, and pouring down rain. The rain was coming down on me, and I had a deadbolt. I couldn't lock it with my bottom lock, so I had to use a key to close the deadbolt. Pouring down rain. I was 2 weeks away from turning pro. I had Gaspari Nutrition and Metrex, all contingent, full sponsorships on me turning pro and going to the Nationals. I was 2 weeks away from it, and it was raining outside. You talk about, okay, raining outside. I had the key in the lock, and I had the bag over me. I had flip-flops on. I had my shoes, my gym shoes in the bag. Turned the key, and when I pulled the key out and spun around, I went flying. I smashed both my hips. I broke both my hips, okay? They said I would, 2 weeks away from the Nationals, done. Dr. Stolarski, he's one of the best orthopedic surgeons in the world. Thank God was in Sarasota. I went to him. I rehabbed myself. I didn't listen to him. I didn't listen to the doctors. They said I would walk with a limp. They said I would never compete again. I was in a wheelchair for 2 weeks because I got both of my hips smashed at the same time. I didn't listen, okay, because I knew about the law of attraction. I was driven. I went to the gym. I rehabbed myself. And this past last year, the Northern Kentucky was my first show since then. And I really wasn't ready. I came in third, but it was like a barrier for me to like go through because they said I couldn't do it. What did I do? I stayed positive. I knew I wanted to compete again, no matter what anybody said. You can't squat, you can't do this because your hips, you can't do this, your hips are gonna break and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't listen. I stayed focused, and I did it. And then now this year I will come in. You know, I go to win. I don't go to come in second. But you know what? I think it's about bettering yourself every single time. You know what I mean? And so I'm just grateful, and I feel blessed to be able to still compete after they said that I was done and my career was over. And I think I'm start moving into like more of a coaching thing, whatever. But we'll see how it evolves.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome. I guess that's it for this show.
Okay.
We'll just go ahead and tell you guys to get out there and move. Love y'all. Hope everybody
Love y'all.
got a little bit off of this, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
My show screaming, take me in.